back to the Tipsy Ghosts. We are your tipsy hosts, Sarah, and Lindsey.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh.
It's spooky season.
And by that I mean it's just October.
Welcome.
It's Halloween season.
It's Spooky Susan. It's our favorite time of year.
Thank you, Susan.
I had to drop the name, but thank you.
It's still there. Just maybe not in public use.
In our hearts. We look a little different tonight.
This is how I dress every day. I don't know what you're talking about.
We look amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Please explain your costumes.
Mine is Taylor Swift inspired. Actually, they all are. Mirror ball. This is a fancy cardigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, remember how we went to London? I ordered a whole bunch of, we'll call them costumes off Shein. And this was a failed one. But it turned out to be ON for a Halloween costume.
It's super soft.
It's giving mermaid and Muppet in one.
What era were you going for?
This was supposed to be Lavender Haze Midnight's era, and it did not go that way.
It's a lavender mermuppet.
It could quite possibly be the warmest jacket on the planet.
I was going to say, are you hot?
I am, and I'm never hot in the basement down here.
And I was just going to wear my Hocus Pocus t-shirt, but somebody forced me into a willow cape.
Mm-hmm. Both of us. For sure.
And that was both of them.
Must participate.
That was what I got for trying not to participate. So I want to talk to you guys about, there has been a documentary that I feel like we need to discuss, and I hope that you have watched it.
Okay. I don't know.
I hate to break it to you. I'm going to say probably not.
She probably hasn't. There's a chance I
not.
have, but I can't be for sure.
It is Chimp Crazy.
Oh my God.
My God. Yes.
I
have asked her every day, you have to watch the Chimp documentary.
First of all, it has been twice now, not every day. Second of all, I have not had time.
I watched it all in 2 days. So technically, yes.
Well, I mean, you had 2 days to watch it.
Mind blowing. So it's by the same guy who did Tiger King.
And it is the same.
Oh my gosh, it is amazing. Yeah. It is everything you could ever want in a documentary and more.
Also in Missouri.
And it's only 4 episodes, right?
Yes.
4 episodes. It's easy. So I finished it last night.
I finished it today.
It was amazing.
It was so good. Like, I can't even explain to you the level of ridiculousness that is going on in these episodes. And each time you're like, how could it get more dramatic? And somehow it does.
It does. Just like Tiger King. You thought, this is just about a tiger. And then it turns into a conspiracy to kill someone. You're like, what happened?
Was he in Missouri too? Or was he Oklahoma? I can't remember.
He's Oklahoma.
Oh my God, Midwest. We need to get it together.
We should not own animals.
There's like a whole ring of people selling and breeding large animals like that.
And it talks about like people who have owned chimpanzees around the U.S. who have attacked them. Like, it is just fascinating.
Okay, we're not going to spoil the entire thing, but what was your one favorite part?
My favorite part, Boydson, close your ears.
Hang on.
Was when we found out.
Wait, my ears are still open.
Put your fingers in your ears.
Was when we found out that Tonga was still alive. And she went down in the basement. And
that
I was
shocking.
Like, what the what?
Yeah. Okay. So to piggyback off of that, my favorite, most shocking part, aside from that, because she was just like so open and talking about it.
They were just like, they got off the phone call with the judge and she's like, yeah, we just got to keep him hidden. And I was like,
why did she walk downstairs? I was like, what the fuck?
Like, I thought he was alive still. I didn't think he was dead, but I did not expect him in the basement.
Okay. But my favorite part was when she said they just drove him 2 miles down the street to the Holiday Inn and tried to lug him up the stairs.
They shut the security camera up. All right, you can.
Done.
I feel like if you have seen Tiger King and love Tiger King, you need to watch Chimp Crazy.
Carol Baskin.
Yes, it's that level
it's
of crazy.
It's just as crazy. You're like, how do the people like this exist in the world?
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And to our listeners, watch Chimp Crazy. If you have not, it's on Max.
All right. So the next time you have, maybe a day or an afternoon where you just need to commit to the all day and you really need to focus, I think it might be a good idea for you to take your magic mind.
It's a solution to everything.
That's how you can keep up with the documentaries that we're watching.
Mental performance shot.
I know you've been taking it pretty regularly every day for the last couple
I'm very
weeks.
regular, yes.
You were already regular and now you're super regular. But if you take it again on that day, you might be able to just help yourself focus throughout all 4 episodes.
You can knock it all out in one day.
Okay, yeah. Just me, Magic Mind, and Chimp Crazy.
I know how you don't really like coffee, so this is kind of a good alternative for you.
I do like caffeine in the form of energy drinks or black tea.
How do you feel about matcha?
Matcha, as long as it's combined with some ashwagandha and lion's mane mushroom.
Everybody's favorite.
I am there.
I just found out that this mushroom is adorable. You should consume it.
It's the cutest of all mushrooms. There's a hierarchy. It's at the top.
It's at the top. And again, while you are drinking this drink and watching documentaries, you are also contributing to helping fund charities that help with the homeless population and the mental health crisis in the U.S. So win-win.
Sounds like that is a very good thing to do while watching people
Make poor choices in life.
Yeah.
And to those listening, if you guys decide to try Magic Mind, they're so confident in their product that they will refund you 100% in up to 100 days if you decide you do not like the product.
100 days is a long time.
It is. So we have a limited time offer that you can use now that gets you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off one-time purchase with the code TipsyGhostLT20 at checkout. That's TIPSYGHOSTLT20.
Or online at magicmind.com/tipsyghostlt.
All right, guys, I got a paranormal story for you guys.
Paranormal.
Let's kick
That
off.
was beautiful.
That was
That's
beautiful.
the first time you've ever said that that's beautiful.
I know, she's
could
normally
cry.
so critical. That was beautiful. I enjoyed
You
it.
say, that something's off.
It was the harmonies.
I wanted to kick off spooky season with a bang.
Spooky season.
Spooky season.
So I thought, what is something that we have always talked about, but we have never actually covered? And that is
Aliens. Abduction, UFO abduction stories.
voodoo.
That's not really paranormal.
Okay, wait, we need a guess.
Okay. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with what we do for a living.
Okay,
Just kidding. We work in healthcare.
ghosts in hospitals.
Okay.
We're going to talk about nurses' stories of their haunted hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to be haunted. All of them.
I have always said from the beginning, if any place is haunted, it is a hospital.
For sure.
And a cemetery.
Yeah.
That too. Okay. So I went to Reddit and I went to their nursing board
Mm.
and I pulled all of these ghost stories from nurses.
Classic.
So this is my disclaimer. None of these are our stories. These are all from Reddit. So this is from user CleanAllMT. And he said, quote, or they said, quote, I was in the basement of the hospital grabbing a new gurney as ours was ripped apart from a violent patient.
Oh my God.
Was it a bear?
That takes effort.
It was
Cocaine Bear.
It was Cocaine Bear.
It was a werewolf.
It was 3 a.m. PACU was on the
Werewolf.
third floor, and it was locked down for the night. No visitors in the hospital. The basement storage unit was packed with stuff, so when I felt my shirt get pulled on, I assumed that it got caught on an object. Then it happened again, only this time I heard a little girl's voice, crystal clear, say, I'm lost. My heart was pounding. I felt all the hairs in my body stand up, and I called my partner down to come help me with the gurney. 3 a.m. you go down to, we have abandoned units on our hospital, and if I went down to an empty unit to grab a bed, if I heard somebody say, I'm lost, and tug on my shirt, I would be out of there instantly. Next is from user The Flaming Peacock.
Oh.
Hey.
Quote, on one of my old floors I worked on, we always had weird occurrences happen at night. It was a neuro step-down unit. This unit had glass walls so you could chart and monitor your patient. We had a patient who had a severe stroke and was nonverbal. Feeding tube, restrained, total care. They rarely had family visit. In the middle of the night, their call light went off. When I answered it, a woman said, he is really hurting. He needs his pain medicine. So I walk into the room to check on him. The room is dark. Nobody's in there and the patient is asleep. I tell his nurse what happened and I go back and I sit down on the desk. The call light goes off again and it's in his room. Same voice. Please, he is really hurting. I get up and walk back to the room. Same story. I tell his nurse and she gives him pain medicine through his peg and we reposition him in bed. The call light does not go off again. It was really weird. Strange things would happen on that floor.
I believe that.
Imagine, nonverbal patient.
Yeah. No, that'd be
You're on the
freaky.
call light. He's in pain.
Dreams.
I know, but also kind of cool. Hey, they got a ghost looking out for them.
They do. I mean, that's kind of a sweet story.
It's a guardian angel.
This one is from Saline Drip IV.
Okay.
These are the usernames. At my old hospital, we had Susie. We never were a unit working with children, but everyone who encountered her claimed to be about 8 years old. We usually only saw a shadowy figure or heard her running over the unit's floor at night. Sometimes she messed with the lights, the call lights, the computers, or our old paper charts.
Suze. She seems playful.
She didn't seem evil, and a stern, not now, Susie, I'm busy, usually kept her in line.
Poor Susie.
She did not like swearing, though. One of our newer doctors once made the mistake to tell her to fuck off.
That's not nice.
to an 8-year-old spirit.
Oh my God.
Fuck off, kid.
After that, bad luck seemed to follow him whenever he stepped on the unit,
Oh.
misplacing his coffee mug just to show up later exactly where he had put it down before, but now ice cold.
Well, yeah, it's been sitting out for hours.
She's like, fuck off, doctor.
She took it, she put it in the
spit in it.
freezer, and then she put it back. Charts would disappear. Lights turned off in the middle of him placing an IV, which prompted me to call her out and
This
her
is a
turning the
fake
light
story.
back on.
The story is fake.
His chair would go down to the lowest setting every time he sat down, even
Aw.
if we switched chairs.
I wish
Kinda
they would
funny.
do that to me.
The chair would work perfectly fine for anyone but him. We had him apologize to her and it all stopped, or at least he wasn't that specifically targeted anymore.
Thank goodness.
I just love that she would he would sit in a chair and she would lower it all the way. She's like, there you go.
I got you.
I got you. You made your coffee cold.
Mess your knees up.
Although I sit my chair in the lowest setting as well.
Yeah, same.
Okay,
I like my
fine.
feet to touch the floor.
Well, that's more reasonable. From Artverse. Had a resident in a locked residential behavioral unit in a really old building who was presumably A&O times 0, which alert and oriented times 0. They didn't know what was up or what was down.
Or who they were.
Yeah.
Or who they were. They were nonverbal and a blank stare. Took care of her for about 2 years and never heard her talk once. She was fairly young, 50s, and ambulatory, but only if you let her around. One night, I was stalking the room and it was pretty dark. I had thought that she was asleep. My back was turned, and from the bed, I heard a really low-toned voice say, "He's here for me."
Ew.
Mm-mm.
I startled and turned around quickly to see her sitting up and looking directly at me, pointing to the opposite corner of the room. I was freaking out, and I just nodded and left. Came back the next night, and she had died.
Okay, that's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've heard that, though, about people who are close to passing, that they see people in the room with them.
Yes. There was a lot of stories on Reddit. I obviously couldn't tell all of them, but that was a very common theme.
Right.
If people tell you they're going to die, believe them.
That's right.
For sure.
They know.
Or if they say they see somebody in the room,
Mm-hmm.
family members usually waiting for them that have already died, then they're probably dying soon.
Probably dying soon. This same user had a second story. They also said, had a resident who self-ambulated to the bathroom at night pretty frequently with a walker and oxygen. We would listen and check on him when he was done. Another nurse and I were charting and talking in the hall around midnight when we heard him get up and go to the bathroom, toilet flush, bedroom light turned on. She stops talking and turns white. The resident had died several days prior, and both of us realized at the same time. No one was in the room, but the light was on and the bathroom door was still open.
Just eternally going to the bathroom.
It's me. Hello.
Lindsey in the afterlife.
Just
Let
going
us
to the
know you're
bathroom,
here.
keeping the light on, flushing
Toilet
the toilet.
flushes.
Every 30 minutes, just flush. Oh, there's Lindsay.
It's Lindsay. She's still got to pee. All right. From Lil Pinks. Pinks is with a Z.
No.
Okay.
Please don't do that.
I work in a psych hospital that's 150 years old.
Cool.
Goals.
Dreams.
Love it.
I've only been here about 7 months, but this is what I've experienced so far. For reference, my hospital is split into 3 wards: men, women, and children and adolescent. Unexplained footsteps and shadows on all 3 wards. Elevator doors randomly open and shut with nobody in them. Our walkie-talkies often change channels and volume randomly. I thought it was happening because it was in my pocket, so I took it out and sat it on the table while I charted. Still watched the volume go up and down on its own. While sitting one-to-one with an overnight with one of the men, I watched a patient cross in front of me on one of those round corner mirrors that go on the wall. So you know, like how they have the
The bubble
mirrors.
mirrors.
Yes, so you can see someone around the corner coming. But nobody physically walked by me. Same night, I was taking papers that needed shredding over to the old infirmary building. Unshakable feeling of being watched to the point of me checking doors behind me, and a very strong smell of root beer.
It's unique.
Sarsaparilla.
What?
That's root beer.
Sarsaparilla.
That's like the root.
I've never heard of that
It's the
before
root
in my
of the
life.
beer.
I don't drink root beer, so I don't know.
Okay.
I told a coworker about it later, and apparently it's happened to multiple people. Something about a notoriously strict nurse that used to work there. I walked out of the kids' ward one night to take a break, definitely saw someone standing at the end of the hallway, did a double take, and nobody was there. Luckily, other than maybe the nurse, nothing has seemed malicious so far. I just verbally acknowledge whatever I experience and move on with my day. Another one. My mentor and I were sitting in the dorms of the kids' ward one night. I looked up at the hallway and noticed a white cloud, or mist, floating under one of the night lights. I poked my mentor to have him look at it, and before he could, it changed shape and disappeared.
Shapeshifter.
Cool.
Mm.
Lizard person.
From Sky Eyes 9.
Skies.
It's with the
Skies.
Z.
Skies.
Skies.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Guys.
skiz. Skis. Skis.
Skis.
Skies.
I'm getting there. Let me get there. It's coming.
I knew what you were trying to say.
You understood my brain. You're like, Lindsey.
I just heard sounds.
You're almost there.
It's like she has short circuited.
That's very possible as well. All right. I had a 25-year-old patient with liver failure go into DIC.
Disseminated
That's all I can remember.
intravascular coagulation.
There you go. She was in the ICU. Her hemoglobin was 2.5,
Ooh,
It's not good.
which is bad.
it's not compatible with life.
It's really
No,
bad.
DIC is never good.
She was
I have
a
zero.
frequent flyer, which we don't say that anymore. It's well known.
Okay.
Who would get esophageal and rectal bands, go home on a bender, and then come back for more. We managed to control the bleeding that day. The next morning, she was my patient again and coded a few hours into the shift. Everyone ran into her room, and we began the ACL protocol, basically compressions. ACLS, yeah.
Mhm.
I was spiking bag after bag of blood products. As I spiked a bag of platelets, I looked straight ahead because I saw movement in the 5th floor window in front of me. A solid black mass. Darker than any earthly black color, like a void was floating there. It had no distinct shape, and the edges were wispy and undulating. I would estimate it was about 4 feet, no face, nothing. But when I looked right at it, I felt it knew I saw it. At a very fast speed, it zoomed down at a left angle and out of sight. There was about 12 other people in the room, but nobody else saw it. She did die. I felt that it was waiting to take her, and it was not a good feeling when I saw it.
It was her.
The dark is dark.
It was a void. It was darker than the dark.
So dark.
This is JD and PJs. I love these
These
usernames.
names. Gotta go.
All right, I worked in an old hospital for forensic patients. I was a skeptic. Until the evening, we got the patients out to the dining hall, and then I and 2 other women were going over some stuff in the nurses' station. Because all the patients were supposed to be off of the unit, we had the door to the nurses' station unlocked and open. As we were talking, one of the doors to a patient room swung open and slammed shut. These were heavy steel doors like in a jail. The supervisor snatched up the phone to call the dining room to start yelling at them to count their patients because they left someone behind. The supervisor hurried to the room to figure out who it was. I made sure to get the door locked. I could see the patient's silhouette through the window of the door for a second. The supervisor got to the door, shoved it open, went in, and comes back out. She said the room was empty. The nurse supervisor had to see this, so did I, and the room was completely empty. The count in the dining room was correct. I was no longer a skeptic. I worked there for several years. I never saw a door moved by a draft or gravity or any other natural force. They were heavy and the windows of the unit could not open, so it wasn't like a hurricane force wind or anything. Lots of the night staff swore the building was haunted.
That was my first guess.
Yeah. Must have been a hurricane force
Hurricane
wind.
winds.
Hurricane force wind. All right, let's see. This is from Deleek Max. Took a patient who passed on my shift after a planned comfort extubation to the morgue around 2 or 3 a.m. The security guard and I had been talking with the house supervisor earlier in the shift about how the OR was supposedly haunted. We dropped the patient off at the morgue, which ironically is by the cafeteria.
Maybe don't tell people that.
Yeah. I don't know if you should advertise that your hospital morgue is right by the cafeteria.
Unless your cafeteria is in the basement.
We made a pit stop to the PACU, completely unplanned.
We are pissed off.
Pit stop. Completely unplanned on our way back to the ICU.
This is another example. I said pit stop, like in cars, and you hear pissed off, and then just make it funnier.
And I say pit stop.
That's what I said. And then, yes, I was just telling her the other day that whenever I say things, people barely hear me. And so I like repeat what you say, but in like a weird voice. And then she mishears me.
Well, because you talk softly and she's half deaf.
Yes. And so I just made fun of it, and it just happened.
So that I mishear it and I repeat what I think I hear.
Yes.
And it's close, but not right.
They made a pissed off to the PACU.
Yeah, makes sense.
I get it.
On their way back to the ICU. All right. These are on the opposite side of the hospital from the morgue. No cameras. No one knew we were going down there. We literally just went to PACU instead of taking the elevator up. There was some definitely weird vibes down there. And then the desk phone rang. I looked at our security and was like, oh, haha, you're funny. You're playing a joke.
Don't answer it.
The blood drained from his face and he was like, no one knows we're down here. It rang and rang, so I walked towards the phone to see what extension was calling, but there was no number it was calling from.
It was the morgue.
But it was still ringing.
Ring, ring. It's me, bitch. Remember
Brittany,
me?
bitch.
You dropped me off 5 minutes ago.
Turns out I am alive.
The old patient can't come to
Check
the
again.
phone. Why?
Because I'm not dead. You left me here.
Take me back to the ICU. As soon as I reached towards the phone, it stopped ringing.
Oh,
We'll never know.
we'll never know.
We got out of there so fast. Second one, I was working the ICU nights. We have the big floor-to-ceiling doors. I had a patient in room 2 and was sitting across from them in room 4. In front of me was the empty room 4. Directly behind me was the old recovery space. It says where we'd play Pac-U on the weekends. I'm wondering if they meant to say where we'd put Pac-U on the
Or
weekends.
played Pac-Man.
I don't know. Or they'd shove whatever
Pretended
crashing
to be
patient there.
nurses.
I always kept the curtain open because I hated having it closed behind me. I glanced up, and in the reflection of the glass, I saw a woman dressed in an old nun nursing outfit, complete with the nun hat, walking slowly behind me from left to right. I froze. I waved high, acknowledged the being, and it just kept walking by. It took me forever to turn around and look.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, nun? Yep.
Sister.
Keep going.
So he's
My
just
lady.
watching it in the glass in front of
Valeria.
him, and he's just like, yep, not going to turn around and look. Yep.
But we wave.
You look well.
For a spirit, you're looking great.
Under his eye.
You're looking a little pale. What would you do if you saw a spirit in the glass in front of you and you knew it was behind you?
No, I'd probably be
Oh.
awkward too. I'd be like, hey.
It depends on what it looks like.
He said that it was just walking back and forth behind him.
But like, none.
A nun
that
and
would be
like an
scary.
old nun, like a nun nursing costume. So I'm thinking like costume, like the skirts and like the shirts and the hats they used to wear.
No, I've seen a lot of like demon movies.
Oh,
Like
you're
the
thinking
nun?
the nun.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The nun.
The nun. The
She's
evil
there.
nun.
And
Walking
she turns
behind
and
you.
she sees your face, and it's
I
that.
would not be waving at her. All right, that same recovery space, the air vent would always have a varying rhythmic knocking. 3 times, 2 times, then another 3. Then it would stop. I would just knock back an answer to whatever the rhythm was.
Oh, is that Morse code?
Possibly.
Do, 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 do. That's the only Morse code I know.
What does that mean?
SOS.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You don't know SOS? Have you not seen like
I know what
Ship
SOS
movies?
means, but no, I don't know what a Morse code. Yes, ship movies. Uh-huh.
That's where I learned it.
I learned it from Titanic.
Probably.
Probably so.
I feel like they would have done SOS.
Or like war movies?
Sure, I
gosh.
believe you. I've just never I cannot tell you what SOS.
That's
wasn't
I
Morse
just
code.
told you.
Okay, now I know. Thank you.
No, you can do
I'll
it.
never forget it. Have you guys had any experiences at our hospitals?
You start.
Oh, just a shadow.
Okay.
That's all.
No big deal.
No, I was walking down the hallway and there was a door that was partially opened and I saw a shadow like in the door, but then it moved. And I thought maybe it was my shadow as I was walking. So I kept walking and that's when it moved. And then I like moonwalked back to try and like
Oh my
recreate
gosh.
it. And it didn't recreate.
Boydson moonwalking in the hospital.
I got scared of your moonwalk.
Okay, so I backpedaled.
Okay.
I walked backwards.
I like moonwalking better.
Yes, I've had 2. One was many years ago when we had an old office on the 3rd floor. I came out of the bathroom, looked to my right, and saw for a brief second a tall, skinny man in a brown suit with a hat holding a briefcase.
Holding briefs.
Holding his briefs.
I'm on my way to the dry cleaner. You,
You have any
Boydson, you also heard something in the office once, didn't you? Like something falling?
Oh, no, a voice. That was recent.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And actually, I think I was by myself and I heard like a man talking and I did not pick up on it. I was like, oh yeah, somebody's just talking. And then I stopped and realized
There is nobody here.
no.
Creepy.
Also, there's a few different places that I get real weird vibes.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had remember that when all that stuff fell?
Yes, that's what I was talking about in your office.
Oh, yeah. So it
And then
turns
you
out
brought up the one that I didn't know about.
turns out I've had lots of things.
So what happened in your office?
It was actually, I was in my office and there was this cart with shelves outside my office. Just minding my own business inside and all of a sudden a big old bucket of something fell off.
I had one where, so like I said, I've had patients tell me that they're going to die. They think they're going to die and they die. And that is a superstition in the hospital. If a patient says they're going to die, believe them. I had one patient when I worked psych many, many moons ago, and I was pregnant. I was probably like 15 weeks pregnant. I was not showing. And a psych patient came up to me and she just put her hand on my belly and she said, "Pregnant?" And I said, "Yes, actually I am." And she put her second hand on and she goes, "With twins."
Aw.
And I was like, "Yes, with twins." And like the nurse was like by me and she like her eyes were huge and she goes, "Are you pregnant with twins?" And I was like, "Actually, yeah, I am. I haven't told anybody."
Surprise.
So it was just like weird that like they picked up on that. And I was wearing scrubs, like nothing tight, form fitting, where you could tell, and I was not showing.
Cool.
So that was just like a weird moment that I had with that patient.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently Boydston has had the most experiences in the hospital.
Yeah, for sure.
And had forgotten.
I just think it's fascinating because, like I've said, if any place is going to be haunted, it's going to be a hospital.
Absolutely.
True.
We need to go find a hospital that's like 150 years old.
I would love that. Also, maybe abandoned that we could investigate.
Abandoned.
Yes, let's find an abandoned hospital.
With old stuff still in it.
Like a tuberculosis hospital.
Yeah, like what's the one out
Like
in West
Waverly
Virginia?
Hills?
Yeah.
Or an asylum.
Yes.
So I just wanted to cover some hospital horror stories
I love it.
Yeah.
to kick off spooky season.
It's my favorite.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week to our paranormal episode. You can always find us at thetipsyghost.com with our socials linked from there, or send us an email at thetipsyghost@gmail.com.
Please give us a 5-star rating and a great review anywhere you listen to podcasts. We really appreciate it, and it really does help.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We'll catch you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.